Warm welcome to this edition of our Regal webinars on Leader as Coach. This edition we have chosen, based on a lot of inputs that we'll discuss this topic: why everyone needs a coach. Now, Karan was playing that particular clip by the two authors of one of the best books on coaching, The $1 Trillion Coach by Eric Schmidt of Google, and the co-author who was also featured in that video. These are the same set of authors who wrote this popular book, The Google Story. So, in case you're looking for some great reading on coaching, that's one book. And perhaps a lot that we take for granted from a management style, corporate leadership, styles about Google, like teamwork being one of them. I think a lot of things come from their original coach, Bill Campbell. So, it's a great read, both for leaders as well as coaches. Now, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So everyone needs a coach. This is primarily the agenda, what we want to cover this evening. What is coaching, what is not coaching. There are a lot of misconceptions about coaching. And we also would like to have a session, a lot of time for question answers. If anything comes up during the slide presentation, please feel free to put it on the chat box or Q&A, and Karan will keep a track of it. Yeah. Next one. This part of Bangalore, there's a power failure today, so that's why we're not well lit, or I hope this connectivity continues to end the session. Now, while you saw in the previous slide, we spoke about what is coaching, then what is not coaching. This is not a mistake. This is a deliberate attempt to set the context before we go into explaining what is coaching, that we step back and discuss what is possibly not coaching. Now, I can see some of the participants here. We are in touch with us, and we are aware of the conversation that we are having about coaching and or coach training. So I'm sure some of these things are relevant to you. Coaching is not mentoring. Mentoring is definitely done by a subject matter expert, somebody who puts in 5, 10, 15, 20 years at work. And, we go to them for insights and what have you been, what has been your learning journey, what mistakes you made, and what to avoid, what to look for. All those mentoring inputs that a subject matter expert is different from coaching. So coaching is not mentoring. A coach need not be a subject matter expert. This is a very important point. A coach need not be a subject matter expert. It's good. Like, I'm a banker, 20 years in banking. When I work with bankers, it helps me to get a context about banking. So banking over the last 10 years since I've become a coach has changed, much more than I had visualized. Fintech was totally unknown. So even for a mentor, there is limited leeway for a mentor to assume that I know everything, done that, seen that. Yeah. Coaching is not a consultant who comes with all their expertise that they've gained from working in the industry, from different companies, and handle different solutions, problems. It's more of a problem solving that they look at, but they don't help you to roll up your sleeves and get into the execution part. Though some of it is changing today. Coaching is not consulting. Coaching is also not training that we do in the corporate. Again, coaching, like whether it is soft skills training or functional training or training for leaders, CXOs, CEOs, there is still some amount of giving. Yeah, there is some amount of giving from a higher level of knowledge, and not to somebody who's not so much an expert. So the same reason, a professor or a teacher coming and teaching something is also not coaching. It is definitely not therapy and counseling. Psychotherapy allows you to go and dwell in the past, look at the problem in the past, heal it, then come back and then look at the future. Coaching prevents us to go into the past because we don't need to really go and fix the problem there. We start with the goals and then we work from where you are today and go towards the goal. And that's a very classical difference of going into the past versus staying in the present and the future in coaching. So now all these have their own place. I'm not saying what is good, what is not good, or good, bad, ugly. No. Every technique has its own place. But I'm just saying coaching is not the same. And last point on that, lot of mentors, trainers, professors, experts, all these people also employ a lot of coaching style. Some of the great mentors, trainers, and teachers, even our school teachers and college teachers, have been good coaches also. Coaching is part of their style, but that's not the approach. So to that extent, coaching and all the other methodologies we saw on this previous slides are different. Then what is coaching? Some of the keywords that I would invite you to make a note. This perhaps is an important slide, so feel free to maybe take a click and maybe go back and you can reflect on this. So ICF is the global standard, global gold standard in coaching. It's a not-for-profit, started 27 years ago, run professionally. They have chapters across the globe, 5 in India, and they also have full-time professionals working on salaries, and also there are a lot of volunteers who work in the local chapters. So they're truly a gold standard. And I'm a certified coach for ICF. So ICF defines coaching as partnering. Now, what the word partner indicates that it's not a mentor or a consultant who gives to somebody from a higher level to lower level. So it's a conversation between two equals. No, it's adult to adult conversation in a transaction analysis. Every person that the coach works with, we refer to him or her as a client. So whether I'm coaching a corporate leader or a youngster or my own son, they all are clients when we get into that coaching conversation. Yeah, that's very important. They are not patients. They are not your students. No, they are clients with all the responsibility of the coach towards the client. It's a process. It's a solid process. That's what ICF has given to the global coaching community. They've come up with this whole framework, which is process driven. But it doesn't stop you at the process. It goes beyond as a creative and thought provoking process. So an experienced coach goes beyond the process, on the foundation of the process, into the realm of art. It's the art of coaching that a master coach is expected to demonstrate with all the clients. So when I go into a coaching conversation, when I start an engagement, I've just signed up today. The format is completed. I'm having my first session. We already have a chemistry session with a client in Singapore. So my thought is, can I give a mastery level coaching session after session? What would it take me to prepare to be fully present, fully aware, so that I can give master level coaching conversation? That happens not at the process, but on a foundational process in the realm of art. What does it do? There are 3 elements in a coaching conversation. The 3 elements are in every conversation, just like the overall engagement, you set the goal for the conversation. You ask the client, what is the goal? What is it that you want to achieve from this conversation? There is deeper exploration of the underlying beliefs, biases, what is stopping the client. Then the client comes up with a new awareness based on these 2 and action. The client walks away with some to do things and to be, not just to do. There are some actions that the client has to do. That action is also about being. And when the client gets into that zone of doing and being between the sessions, the transformation happens. So, and what does it result? The client is inspired to take actions. That's where the word inspire comes. And what is the outcome? Most important, the fascinating part of this for me is it's not about maximizing performance. It's not about getting my next promotion, getting my next quarter results. No, it helps the client to maximize potential, personal and professional. The whole focus is on maximizing potential of the client, not just performance. So this becomes the foundation of why everyone needs a coach. Yeah, so please remember some of these key elements that I just explained as we go into the next few slides. And time permitting, I'll also share some stories. Now, we are going to quickly run through what are some of the popular myths around coaching. Yeah, just in the moment, I'm remembered I gave a talk. I went through one of the hobbies that I have, one of the aspirations I have is to write and publish a book. So I attended a training program for writers, aspiring writers, not writers, aspiring writers to get the art of storytelling better. So I attended this and I delivered as part of our end of the session in a place in the city in Bangalore. We were all given one topic, and what I spoken was on mythophobia, the fear of myth. So why we picked up today, we are looking at the myths because there are a lot of emotions attached to the myths. The fear, the concern, am I cut out to become a coach? Is coaching right for me? Would it have a side effect? There's some of the myths that are generally popularly heard. So we are going to look at 8 myths, 7 plus 1. You'll see why it is 7 plus 1. I'll run through some of them. Feel free to interrupt if there are any questions. The first one is the coach does not give solution. No, sorry, the coach gives solution. The expectation is to get silver bullets. Yeah? No. Coaching is just the opposite. The coach inspires the client through the thought-provoking process to come out with the solutions. And the solution that the client comes up with will be very personal, something very relevant to that person. Anyone else who gives solutions will never be giving what is the best for the client. Whether it is your boss, whether it is your coach, your parents, your sibling, your best friends, none of them know you as much as you know yourself. So why we don't give solution is that you have the best solutions within you. And where does that come from? It comes from the assumption that you are complete. Who in the world gives you the benefit of that assumption, including your parents, partner, boss, subordinate, anyone, right? Siblings, kids, spouse. No one holds you in that realm where we tell you that you are complete. When you are complete as a client, there is a solution for every problem, every opportunity, there is a solution. That is the myth number 1. Yeah. We go to the next one. There's a bit of a lag. That's why, there's a time lag. Yeah. The second one is the coach needs to be a subject matter expert. As I said, a mentor needs to be a subject matter expert. A teacher, a trainer, or a guide, not a coach. I was sharing with a colleague of mine this morning that, I worked with a company, a Fortune 100 company, which works with pharmaceutical companies. I left biology when I was in 10th. After 10th, I was very happy to get rid of biology. After 12th, I left science to pursue commerce and management. So that is my science. And I'm very happy to get away from them. So here I am working with a company which consults for pharmaceutical companies. And that is one of my best, I got 2 senior leaders of the company who have been groomed to take over as CEO. One of my best engagements. And it actually helped me that I was not a subject matter expert. Because as a coach, I can never match their expertise. I'm talking about CXOs and CEOs. They come in with 10, 15, 20 years experience. I can never match their subject matter expertise. But what I can additionally give them is a space as truly a coach. Yeah, I was sharing again this morning that one of the clients who was elder to me, far more accomplished, in every sense ahead of me in personal and professional life. So I would ask him after every session initially, saying that, is this making sense to you? Does it help you? After 2 or 3 sessions, he said, don't even ask that. If it did not make sense to me, I wouldn't come here for the session. I'm coming because it makes sense to me. And he said something beautiful that stayed with me. He said, the space that you give me, the unconditional, non-judgmental space, that's worth every bit of it. So don't worry, everything else that I get is cherry, the cherry on the cake. Number 3 is the coach decides the conversations. No. I spent 20 years in sales and marketing and business leadership roles. We all claim that we are customer-centric, but coaching perhaps is one of the most customer-centric profession. It's truly with the client, the power. The choice is with the client, the methodology is with the client. The coach just partners with the client. Again, at the same time, it is just not left for the client fully. It's a partnering between the coach and the client. It's like, in Hindi we say Jugal Bandi in a musical case. It's salsa. It's dancing in the moment. And how it helps, again, it is built on the assumption that the client knows everything. It's the most empowering approach to self-development. There's nothing as powerful as that. So the client is truly empowered. The coach will keep challenging. The coach will keep asking. But it is a very client-centric process. It's much beyond what even Amazon claims. Number 4, coaching is prescriptive. No. A doctor prescribes, right? Coaching is not prescriptive. A teacher prescribes, a boss prescribes, a mentor prescribes. Coaching doesn't tell you, coaching is asking. Because again, the client knows what is best for the client. So we want to discover that together. And that is not easy for a coach. That's why the whole training, mentoring, practice, the rigor of the journey to become a coach comes from there. The coach is trained to partner with the client. So coaching is never prescriptive. The moment a coach prescribes, we are violating the ICF code of ethics. And we are very strict about it. Coaching takes time to show results. Yeah, Rome was not built in a day. We know this famous quote. No major city was built in a day. Transformation is not easy. Jugaad, as we say in a derogatory sense, sorry for that. There is no way you can achieve transformation if you take shortcuts. There is always a trigger. That's why coaching conversations are usually 6 to 12 months. Exceptional cases, 3 months. That's more short term. But coaching is more powerful if you're engaged for a good 12 months. Because you need time. We were talking about 10, 20 years work experience and another 10, 20 years plus life baggage. You need time to overcome that. So be patient. It's a marathon. It's a real long marathon, not even a short marathon. Yeah? The sixth one is coaching is expensive. Yeah, I'm as a coach expensive. Saw some of our alumni from our community whom we have trained and mentored and guided. Yeah, because ICF is meant primarily for leaders, as you move into the leadership position. And my friend and fellow coach, he says the number of leaders globally are just 2% of adult population. So the rest 98% are either aspiring leaders or followers, right? So coaching is not for everyone. Coaching is for leaders, says Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. I go one step further with all humility. I say that coaching is the future of leadership. Hence, it's very important that you have a client, you have a coach as a client. And coaching is expensive because you're talking about, I just give you my example. I'm a very ordinary person who was lucky at every stage of life. And lucky in the sense, God's grace. And I work very hard. At 8 p.m., I'm doing my work here, connecting with you all. That's my commitment to the profession also. It takes 20 years of my work experience. And I'm continuously learning. This whole morning, I was not available for my colleagues. I was doing a refresher program at ICF for assessors. So there's continuous investment that is happening. And coach training, practice, all the additional things that we do to sharpen our saw, proverbial saw, it's expensive. Naturally, coaching is expensive. And as a client, it's an investment versus expense. We all use expensive smartphones. We wear expensive clothes. We eat good food. We take care of ourselves in every good sense. Coaching also is one step ahead. This perhaps the investment of your life. And I'm saying this, I don't need to sell ICF. I don't need to sell coaching here. I can say I've clocked over 5,000 hours as a coach. We have trained over 300 coaches in Regal for the ICF framework. I can say one thing, that investing in coaching is one of the best decisions you'll ever make in your life. Yeah? The next one. So look at it as an investment. One of the most important investments you will ever make in your life. The seventh myth is coaching is self-help by someone else. No. Coaching goes beyond self-help. Yeah, it's something at a glorious self-help, not glorified. It's something because you're talking about potential, for God's sake. Personal and professional potential. You really blossom as who you can truly be. You move into your self-actualization or your full potential. That's what coaching does to you. So can you really settle for anything else? Books can take you to some level. Somebody was telling me that there's one coaching institute who's leveraging extensively on YouTube. No, you can't become a coach or a client going through YouTube videos. This is a very reflective, deep churning. Those of you are familiar with Hindu mythology. This is like Amrit Manthan. What comes out of that Amrit Manthan, when that churning, divine churning is happening, Devas on one side and Asuras on the other side. What comes out is phenomenal things. You don't know. And the coaching, that's what happens in coaching. So it's much beyond self-help. It's something truly beautiful if done by the right coach and the client is ready. Yeah, the bonus. This is another thing, this is another myth around coaching. Coaching is not for the typical alpha managers in a positive sense, not the negative alpha that we generally tend to hear. Coaching is for those people who want to move to the next level to maximize potential. So, it is beyond alpha. I'm a trained certified healer. It is beyond alpha at a theta level of consciousness. It is level 5 leadership that Jim Collins speaks of in Good to Great, that phenomenal work, where he says level 5 leader is someone who operates at the confluence of that personal humility and professional will. Personal humility and professional will. Yeah. So it's very important that coaching is beyond alpha in a very positive sense. It's a theta, I would say. Yeah, or at a higher level of consciousness. Yeah, any questions, Karan? I know you're also struggling with the connectivity.
No,
I can also check if there's something.
Yeah, so I'm checking. Please, if any of you have any queries, you can probably use the chat box or Q&A box to, kind of put your query there, and we will take it as an event. Now, not a myth, I would not say a myth, but one observation is that, why I think it is not an alpha intervention is when you go for consulting, let's say, what you are actually doing is you bring in data and you bring in charts and figures and numbers and stuff like that. It is dynamic, it is changing and stuff like that. But the moment you think of coaching, it is more about listening to somebody, thinking, writing, reflection. Does it truly help at that level to do all this and not look at hard facts and hard numbers and data, Subash? Subash, you're on mute by any chance?
Sorry, thanks for that. So this is like, for me, just a comparison, not a direct comparison, just to drive home my point is, all this chart and figures and everything comes from, the typical IQ oriented, ego based. It is important, it's relevant. You need high IQ as a leader. But, what would it take to go beyond that? And that's where a coach helps. There's one example that I always quote. I had one of those big four APAC head was handling business, who had to make a very important decision, and his data sets option 1, but his gut said something option 2. And actually, he called me when I was traveling overseas on an assignment, and he said, I want to have a quick chat, and this is my dilemma. What should I do? So we had a quick chat, 5-10 minutes chat on an ISD international call. And I left. I said, you reflect on this and take a call. Now reflect on this, going beyond the chart, beyond the numbers, is everything that he did. Somewhere he took the risk also. He had the authority, he took the risk. He was taking a big risk. It would have been very safe for him to go by the option 1. He went by option 2. So a lot of ordinary, normal leaders would go for charts and figures and facts. Even data, Karan, we know that they're talking about storytelling as the way for data presentation. Right? The old charts and figures are also being rediscovered, because even computers are going to take care of a lot of those stuff. So what is it that added benefit we bring in as leaders? It's our ability to tell stories, to go beyond the data and look at what is below, what is beneath beyond that. Yeah, does it answer?
Yes, definitely. I think at that level of to CXOs and CEOs, you need to go
It's
beyond
must.
these data figures and story, go beyond that and look for the real stories. Now, another question, again, not a question, it's just an observation. Today, we see a lot of coaches mushrooming over internet who are giving tips and tricks, three tips to become self-confident. And would you classify them as mentors or coaches?
So, as I said about the ICF Code of Ethics, whenever a coach is giving an advice, if you're an ICF coach, you're just directly violating the ICF Code of Ethics. It can be very dangerous because if somebody raises a red flag. So it's violation of the letter and spirit of the ICF Code of Ethics, to which we all subscribe wholeheartedly. Second, when I prescribe something to anyone, I'm still giving. It comes from a higher ego state of parent-child in a transaction analysis. I have just ignored that person's ability to think and come up with solutions. So the best solution I can give as a coach is to enable that person to come up with solutions which are very personal to that person. So again, another to back up the example is very simple example that we often quote. Somebody says, "I want to lose weight." The Karan, what you would do and what I would do would be very different. So if I'm going to tell you, Karan, you do this, like I'm a morning person, you're not as much a morning person. I said, you get up early. I have lost the plot, no? So where is the customization? Where is the potential? So whenever a coach is prescribing anything, that seventh myth prescriptive, no, then the client is not being served right. It's a disservice to the client. It's very unfair to the client's potential. No, you're kind of preventing the client to blossom into what the client can truly be. And it is not easy. It's a very easy thing for the client to ask for a magic pill. It's very easy for a coach to give solutions. And you would have heard me saying this number. You search coach on LinkedIn, the last count was 4 million. 4 million coaches on LinkedIn. And I'm sure there are equal number of coaches outside LinkedIn. So whereas ICF count is a fraction of it, 50,000 plus. So to that extent, yes, giving advice is absolutely wrong in the service of the client, to summarize.
Thank you for that. So coach, as per ICF, he or she cannot be prescriptive. Now, my follow-up question on that is, given that coaches need to market themselves, and the market is actually currently, again, based on my very naive understanding, market is currently looking at those silver pills, magic bullets, those tips and tricks. How do you see the future of coaching as as per the ICF, the pure and classical coaching is what we call it. Do you see a future for that going forward?
Where the very good question. And yeah, very good question. So now, while I gave a coach's perspective of how it is wrong and unethical, you are doing wrong to the client, absolutely not acceptable to be prescriptive or giving the magic pill. I also want to flip, building on this question, that a lot of times the client wants it, right? So my only request is, then don't call it coaching. Because the client is not ready when the client is asking for solutions. Let us don't call it coaching, because that violates the power of coaching. So to that extent, call it mentoring, consulting, anything. And the expert, the self-styled coach can always say, as a coach, I cannot prescribe to you, but if you want to sign me up as a mentor, consultant, anything, I'll prescribe to you. Please go ahead. And there might be a lot of things that the client would benefit from. Now, the client often, Karan, is not ready for the transformational shift. And that's a very big factor. When we sign up engagements, we do a rigorous process of checking whether the client is ready for the transition. If it is just a transactional shift, the client doesn't need a coach. It could be a mentor, guide, teacher, trainer, or a consultant, or even a therapist. But if the client is ready to move to the next realm of consciousness without any baggage of that strong word, then the client will truly experience it. So if the client wants a band-aid, you can't do surgery. The client comes to the doctor saying that I've got headache. The doctor might just prescribe a Dolo 65. But a good doctor would go understand what is the reason for that headache. It might have nothing to do with why the doctor wants to prescribe a Dolo 65. So even there are good doctors who do that even now, who work at the root cause. Right? So it's very important that the client also should be clear as to do I want a band-aid or a truly transmission shift, quote unquote, a surgery.
Great. Thank you for that. So this helps the viewers and the listeners as well. If you are a client and you are looking for some transactional shift, you're looking for some guidance, you need not be hiring a professional ICF coach. You might want to go for mentor, consultant, trainer, so on and so forth. So it saves, it kind of brings some clarity as to from client's angle as well. That helps truly. Now, another quick question.
So Karan, sorry to interrupt you. There is another thing, because I can see a participant who had asked me the same question. So I'll also address that point that you asked, what is the future of coaching and what is scope of ICF coaches? I can say, I am a coach for the last 10 years. We have trained coaches, our company trains coaches, Regal Unlimited, and we also have a lot of friends among the coaches. It's a very well-knit community of professional coaches, ICF coaches, a lot of good friends in that community, though we compete in one way. So the answer to that is, I've seen the need for proper training, certification, ICF credentialing actually becoming the minimum standard for engagement of a coach. I know a lot of coaches who are experienced professionals who also added professional ICF accreditation to make their practice deeper. So definitely a lot of corporate engagements, the minimum they ask for ICF accreditation, ACC, PCC, MCC. So that is becoming common. So people are more aware now. It can only get better going forward from my limited understanding.
Definitely.
Back to you.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to add some numbers there, I think when I had joined Regal Unlimited, which is, let's say 1.5 years back, a number of ICF coaches were 30,000. Now, in the last year or so, we have, added more than 20,000 plus coaches worldwide. Now, ICF has been here for the last 27 years, if I'm not wrong, 1995 it started, right? So in the last 2 years itself, it has, added almost 2/5 of their, coaches. So that is the growth spree which we are actually seeing worldwide. That's the demand which we are seeing, and the number of coaches which are being certified are increasing exponentially. Right. So yes, the point is very clear. There is a very brighter future and scope for coaching, especially ICF defined as per ICF that standard of coaching. Yeah. So should I present the screen again, and should we get ahead and complete the presentation, Subash, or you want to take any more questions?
Yes, Karan. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Let us complete that, and then if there are those who want to leave can leave also then.
Sure.
Participant.
So this is the brief summary of the screen, Subash.
Yes. Cool. So this kind of if somebody wants to take a screenshot, you can take this. These are the 7 myths, excluding the 8th one. So these misconceptions drive clients to hire coaches who are not trained, certified, credentialed, and experienced coaches. It's important that you choose the right coach. Coaching, getting a coach is also like getting the right partner in life, or a teacher in life, or a spiritual guru. Now, this is another very important thing, why all leaders need coaches, right? All practicing leaders, this is Daniel Goleman's, those outer circles. Daniel Goleman says there are 6 styles of leadership based on emotions. Coaching is one of them. And he says that's one of the tougher ones, least popular, least practiced, because it's difficult. And for some of the same reasons that are misconceptions. It's not alpha enough and it's not strong enough. It takes time. So the way we look at it is, we bring them all together. Where as a leader, if I have to be firm, I'll be firm. If I have to be democratic, I'll be democratic. If I have to be an affiliative. But if I have to be a coach, I have to be. Every leader has to be visionary. So the way we look at it is, we go one step further beyond what Dr. Daniel Goleman says, is we incorporate all these elements, 6 elements, into leader as a coach. And that's also the way we train our coaches to become professional coaches. So, it's not like I have a dominant style of leadership. I'm aggressive. Then I ignore all the other styles of leadership. No, that is a very selfish way of leading. What I need to be mindful is what the situation demands, what the people demand. So I'm on my last lap of getting certified as a team coach based on ICF framework. There we don't train people, we train the energy within the team. So where is the question of 6 styles of leadership? So we have to address the consciousness that exists in the team with the individual. And that's what leader as a coach beautifully can do. Again, it's not easy. You get trained as a coach. Yeah. Next one. Yeah. So we have covered some of the questions. We'll go to the next few slides. Yeah. Yeah. So these are some of the reasons why everyone needs a coach. This is a very important list. A coach is an accountability partner. It's like a milestone in your life. We'll make sure that you're on track. You're going towards your destination. And you know what are the milestones. So a coach is the best accountability partner. When we work with clients, when we ask the client, who do you want to be an accountability partner? They don't say, they prefer not to have their spouse. They prefer not to have their boss, not even some of their peers. But they said they can get nagging tomorrow. So accountability partner as a coach comes from a very non-judgmental supportive space. A coach can give it a very dispassionate feedback. No one else can give you that dispassionate feedback, because a coach is not really, attached to the client in a disempowering way. The coach is attached in a very empowering way. So we call it detached attachment. You're not truly letting go. There is some level of attachment, but you're detached in the process. Yeah. The coach is also challenger and a supporter. Today, leaders here, how many times today you got a pat on the back? You would have done a great day. You have done a lot of things today, right? But we all are busy doing our own job. Good example, like, I know Karan had a very busy day. I know what all things he has achieved. I'm not paused to pat on his back. And as a senior, I pretty much don't get it. So you need a challenger and you need a supporter. So a leader who has a coach gets the benefit of a challenger and a supporter. And they are very, very supportive to make you win. But it's also about playing right. Winning is just a milestone. You win some, you lose some, but it's also the journey. Every leader is very lonely at the top, they say. So a coach is a great sounding board. And the fact that the coach is external, it's truly an empty canvas that the coach provides. And the coach is trained to provide that. You don't get that from anyone else. And this is my favorite metaphor. A coach is a very clean mirror. A mirror just stands there, all clean. It's a clean mirror. Yeah. It doesn't take anything from the client. It just reflects back who you are as a client. And that is a phenomenal help. As I said before, as coaches, practicing coaches, we are trained to be non-judgmental, all for the client's growth. These are all the things that a coach provides for the client. So is there any way that you can ignore the possibility of hiring a coach? What are those myths? We listed 8 of them. You might come up with another 8 excuse. So my question, listeners here or viewers here, is, what is your excuse for not hiring? Yeah. As I said, we also train leaders to become coaches, to incorporate coaching into the leadership and life. And Leader as a Coach is a very popular program. We have been running it for almost 3-4 years now. Though we have been running ICF programs for 8 years now. We started this later. A new cohort starts on 11th September. 11th September, nothing to do with September 11. It's just it's a very auspicious day to start a new journey. And we run this on 5 consecutive Sundays starting on 11th September, just 4 hours. We cover some of the competencies of coaching, the ICF framework. We also refresh some of the leadership concepts like level 5 leadership. Yeah, so 20 hours of training. We do there's a life at 60 exercise of phenomenal value to you. You look at your life once again, perhaps the first time. You start traveling towards your full potential at all realms. That is the Regal at 60, very popular tool. Level 5 leadership, Jim Collins, Good to Great, servant leadership. Yeah, you also get 1 hour mentoring by the mentor. Yeah, and I'm one of the mentors. So you get 1 hour one-to-one with me, where you can bring in your personal topics for discussion. Why Regal Unlimited? We have been into 8 years in coach training, 10 years entering the 10th year in December, when we would have completed 10 years of our touching leaders' lives. We have coached over 300 plus, Spartan number. We have touched 100 plus industry leaders, executives running programs, and we are doing it all classroom now, everything online. We have worked with over 50 global organizations touching their leaders in a very transformational way. So if you want to become a coach, you want to hire a coach, you want to go for a program like Leader as a Coach, Regal Unlimited offers all the solutions to you. We are a community of 300 plus coaches or trained, certified, most of them credentialed, others on the credentialing part, experienced, doing transformational work, and second career for almost all of us. Yeah. So to that extent, it means a lot for us. We are living our life purpose. Yeah. That's all from our side. If there are any questions, Karan, any closing remarks from you, you can do that and kind of wrap up.
Nothing, Subash. Like I was thinking, if any participant has anything to share, or any reflections, any aha moments during the session, feel free to put it in the Q&A box or in the chat, or we can invite you as well. If you want to speak something, share something, raise your hand, and we can avail that facility as well. For me, I think what I can do is, I think we have actually written a beautiful blog on these misconceptions.
Yeah.
So what I will do currently is, I'll just give me a minute and I'll put the link of the blog on the chat box, so that all of you who wants to have a deeper understanding of these myths, you can probably go through the blog and gain that understanding. This blog was written by one of our coaches. So as Subash said, we are a community of 300 plus coaches training ICF coach training based on ICF. This blog is actually by one such coach. Also, we are launching the LAC program, which is for middle level and senior level leadership. You could actually, if you are a leader and looking to equip yourself with coaching skills, feel free to connect with me. I'm leaving my mail ID as well on the chat box. You can schedule a call with me or write to me and I'll get in touch with you one-on-one. Yeah, there is a question which has come. Okay. Subhash, there's a question by Sanjeev, who says the senior ops leaders do not have buy-in to get invested by a coach. They believe they know all. How to encourage them to know that they also may need coach despite being at a higher position. So the opening video which we played, Subhash, where Eric Schmidt says, we think that the people who are on top of us will be more polished and more organized. Actually, they are the ones who need the coaches because they are more political. Your thoughts on this, Subash? How do you propel people to become coaches at higher level or hire a coach? Yeah.
So, there is no easy way out. There's no shortcut. All these webinars and other things that we are doing is also, in a way, we're trying to educate classical coaching. One way we can do is, you can invite coaches or companies like us. We can come and do a free session and demonstrate coaching. We can actually sit with someone and I can do a real demo of plan. We have done that with a lot of companies, even some of those global brands. I've done it in IIM Bangalore, INSEAD, IMT Ghaziabad, a lot of similar places. So we can come and do a demo. There is no shortcut. because we are wired in such a way that we are looking at performance, which is always short term, whereas potential, it's much bigger. So consistent effort in a very non-intrusive way is the best gift that we can give. So if I am convinced of bringing in coaching into my organization, if I were a corporate executive, then I need to be consistent, looking at the long-term benefit, both the individual, the culture, the team, everyone accrues out of it. So yeah, I mean, no shortcut, but perseverance space to bring in coaching. Absolutely.
So Subhash, like I'm also putting the link of the blog page of ours, because we take effort to create high quality content, which actually brings
Yes.
awareness about coaching and coach training and why executive coaching. So the reason is, even if these high quality content, if the leaders can truly read, because these content actually, they have the case studies of Satya Nadella and Google's Eric Schmidt and the who's who of the world, because we know that those leaders at that places, they have actually hired coach and benefited a lot. So if I believe, in my opinion, if the leader who is not that receptive, if he is getting bombarded with this kind of information from all angles, something might strike, some spark might come, some curiosity might arise, and some action can be.
Yes. Yes.
I have put the link for the blog as
Yes.
well, in case you're interested. I think the key is to build awareness, and that's what we are attempting to do through these webinars.
Yes. And we all are in this together. And I think Sanjeev, who asked that question, I think we all have to do this. We have to be consistent, because if I can use the expression, we are talking about touching lives and raising consciousness through coaching, and coaching is capable of that. This art and science of coaching can actually help us achieve that. So why not?
Subhash, another thing, like I think the recent Mensa podcast which you had given, we had asked in that, what makes a leader hire a coach? So you had given a beautiful answer there.
Yes.
It could be any kind of discomfort, physical, emotional, mental, even
Yes.
spiritual, that could raise that, yeah, I need someone. It could be if the leader is hearing different feedbacks. If he's hearing that you were never like this, you were not used to coming late to, let's say, the meetings, or any such feedback. So if you're hearing different noises, different feedbacks, it's time to hire a coach. So these kind of situations can actually propel a leader to hire a coach. Any kind of discomfort or feedback from colleagues or peers, that could be a starting point. Another question has come in, Subhash.
So, I'll just add to that, Karan. I always say I bring in this, it's part of our curriculum, an important part of our curriculum. We all are on our hero's journey. Again, another Joseph Campbell speaks about this based on his research, extensive research. So, the nudge to move from the current to a more resourceful state is always there within us. He says we often ignore it. Yeah. Yes, Karan, back to you. You had a question.
So, yeah, there's not a question actually. It's Sanjeev is agreeing that demonstration of coaching can truly be the starting point to initiate in the organization. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sanjeev, thanks for joining the call. We are connected today, and we are happy to fly into Hyderabad and present, or wherever you want us to, especially if it's within India. Yeah. It's a long haul, but it will work. It's like breaking the stone. At some stage, it will break. Yeah. Thank you.
So if we do not have any more questions or comments, I have put relevant links in the chat box. Feel free to bounce off to those links and connect with me. If at all you have any further questions, I'm free to reach out to you and connect with you and have a call. And looking forward to seeing many more, almost all of you, in the upcoming batch of Leader as Coach, so that you can sharpen your leadership skills and truly future proof your leadership. Because as Subash said, coaching is the future of leadership, and in an attempt to future proof your leadership, we invite you to join us for Leader as Coach program. Yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Yeah, thank you for joining and staying on. Most of you seem to stay on. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.